Welcome back. You're watching Market Fatafat right here on ET Now, show where we get you all the stocks based on news flow that are buzzing based on news flow and on technicals. And remember that today you had the markets hit all-time high levels. You saw Nifty hit that 19,000 mark for the first time ever. But let's talk about the technical aspect of the markets and the stocks that are buzzing in trade. So let's bring on board Nirav Chheda on the show. A very good afternoon to you, Nirav. Thank you so much for joining us on ET Now. What a special day today. No doubt we were all grieving silently on the fact that one holiday got shifted to the other day. So from Wednesday, we have now the holiday on Thursday. But today, markets have given us extra reasons to be happy,
Sure.
isn't it?
Much Nifty hitting the all-time highs, going above the 19,000 levels. So what can be better? A lot of large-cap stocks are also going up. In the last 40-45 days, Nifty has been in this frustrating range of about 18,600 to 18,900 odd. Finally, we are above it, and hopefully some momentum returns. And if you're looking at the chart, I believe the momentum will return, and Nifty should move up towards that 19,300, 400 odd levels, with a broad-based buying going on in the F&O stocks, especially because mid-cap and small caps have already seen a big run-up. Probably they can take a back seat now, and the big boys will come in and rule the Nifty.
See the momentum continue, and also the big boys to come and rule the momentum as well for the markets. But Nirav, what about Bajaj Consumer? Do you think this will continue to rule the charts?
There are some stocks in the small cap, mid cap basket where they haven't really moved up much. So those stocks will probably again move up as well. And Bajaj Consumer is one such stock. In between 175 to 150, it took out about 5 to 6 months. And finally, this breakout has come in. I believe that has come in with good volumes. So very likely we will see this stock moving up towards the 225 to 30 odd level. It's a good level to buy at at current levels with a stop loss of around 185.
Levels for Bajaj consumers. But let's move on and talk about BSE. Ashesha, why have you picked out BSE for us today? What is the news flow that we're seeing? Because the stock is running up away and trade today. It's up 2%.
Stock is gaining in trade today. Remember, yesterday evening, NSE and BSE issued a joint circular whereby NSE withdrew the decision that it had taken on the 6th of June to shift the Bank Nifty expiry to Friday. So it has now been again brought to Thursday. NSE withdrew its circular from immediate effect, and they said that the decision has been taken as Friday expiry of Bank Nifty coincides with expiry of Sensex futures as well. And hence this is a positive for BSE, and that is the reason the stock is gaining in trade today. It is off the highest point of the day, but despite that, as you can see on your screens, it is trading with gains of over 2%.
Out on BSE today. But let's move on and talk about BML. Why is BML in focus today? Is because we have an order win that has actually come in for BNL. It's around a 385 crore order win, which is from Bharat Dynamics Limited as well as Bharat Electronics Limited as well. So on the back of this that we've seen, BML is buzzing in trade as well, and obviously this is high volatility mobiles that they will be making as well. So keeping an eye out on BEML on the back of this news flow. Today trading with gains of almost 3% as of now, Sheldon.
All right, that is BEML for you, buzzing in trade today. Harsh, let's talk about Polycab and why is this particular counter in focus today?
Cheryl, it's because there was a management meet that Polycab had with Nuvama, and several clarifications, quite a bit of clarity that came out on the back of that. Firstly, the FMEG division's rejig is now complete. They continue to expect a 10% EBIT margin as has been guided for in FY26. That remains intact. They also aim to accelerate exports and that may lead to a larger, longer, more extended growth runway for the company as per Nuvama, and the capex visibility from key sectors such as power is also strong, and thus there is volume growth visibility as well going forward. A couple of positives coming through, and all of that adding up, you're also expected to therefore see market share gains, especially in the organized space, in the space that Polycab operates in, and a ramping up with regard to brand building as well as influencer marketing will also lead to good returns. All of that really piecing in well together for Polycab. A couple of brokerage notes as well. We had Nuvama's note with a target price of 4,000 rupees a share, and we had Jefferies' note yesterday with a target price of 4,270 a share, and on the back of that, Polycab is up and away 3% higher.
Okay, let's move on and talk about MRPL, Nirav. On the charts, how is MRPL looking to you? Would you still suggest that 77 with a 38% uptick in the last 6 months, it's still a buy?
Oh yes, definitely. It's a buy. There are two reasons for it. First of all, you all know, a super rally was witnessed by the stock. It was at 40, it went up to 120 odd levels along with Chennai Petro. Then, that fall came in. That was a drastic fall, but it has taken a lot of time at the lower levels, consolidated for a long time in between about 50 and 60. And then, a breakout has come in. And I believe on the longer term charts, a rounding formation is taking shape, which is a very strong pattern. So I believe here
All right, I believe we've actually snapped that line of Nirav on MRPL. Let's continue then. Let me just talk about Gujarat Gas, and this is another counter that is in focus. On back of a brokerage report, you had Jefferies that's come up with a note on Gujarat Gas where they're maintaining an underperformed stance. They're given a target of around 420 rupees per share, which is 420 and not 240 as written on the screen. We'll get that rectified for you. Let's talk about what Jefferies is saying. They're saying propane economics have been unfavorable in Q1 for Gujarat Gas also, and further price cuts also are likely in Morbi in Q2, and this because as propane price continues to weaken. They're saying the EBITDA margins on Morbi volumes is approximately 1 rupee per SCM in Q1 FY24, and they are saying they see continued pressure in Q2 as well on the expected price cut. So yes, because of the price cut, it will definitely have an impact on the margins. And Jefferies is not definitely excited about that. Underperform rating, a target of 420, which is below the current market price.
Absolutely, surely keeping an eye out on that one. Let's move on to stock number 24 for today, and we're going to be talking about Tamil Nadu Mercantile Bank. And Ashesha, what is the news flow here today? Why have you picked up this stock for us today? It's not doing anything great, just trading with gains of 0.6% as of now.
Stock is in focus, and because yesterday the company informed the exchanges that Intelligence and Criminal Investigation Directorate of Income Tax is conducting a spot verification of statutory compliances of the bank. This is being done under Section 285PA of the Income Tax Act, and the bank has also clarified that they are fully cooperating with the officials during the ongoing proceedings, and the day-to-day business has not been impacted because of this. So on account of this news that came in, the stock is in focus today.
Surely, keeping an eye out on Tamil Nadu Mercantile Bank. That is the one that we are watching out for. Keep an eye out on that one in trade today. Let's move on and talk about ICICI Bank then from the private players. And Nirav, this one, does it make the top list for you in the private banking space? Last 6 months, only 5% return is what ICICI Bank has managed to give. But how much is the upside for this now?
So very recently, this stock has moved above the 50-day moving average that has been broken above now. Also, the near-term trend has become positive. A lot of lower bottom formation has been broken out above. So a lot of things going on for this bank. I believe one can buy at current levels now at all-time highs. This bank should lead. It can go up towards the 980 odd levels. So look to buy it at current levels. 920 should be a stop loss.
All right, that's ICICI Bank for you. Harsh, Ashok Leyland, why is this particular counter in focus? If you look at Ashok Leyland on the charts, it had a good run of late as well. But today is also trading high by 1.6%. What's the reason?
Well, yes. So really, Ashok Leyland has clarified that they have tied up and they've partnered with AI drivers for producing autonomous electric terminal trucks to address net zero emission needs of the ports industry. That's really the news that's coming through, or rather that they've clarified the NSE on. So and that's probably one of the reasons. Of course, the other is the fact that there is plenty happening within the auto space as well with regard to automation as well as driverless, and that's one of the reasons why it's in focus, that they're already partnering with AI drivers on the back of that.
Okay, keeping an eye on Ashok Leyland. Let's move on and talk about Shyam Metallics. Now, we had most of the details coming in. We had spoken about this before as well on 12th of June on ET now, that we will be seeing a block trade that will be happening around 10 to 11% in terms of stake, where the promoters is going to be are going to be reducing the stake in the company. Promoters currently hold around 88% stake in the company, and that is what they'll be looking to sell. The selling will be done to comply with that minimum shareholding norms, public norms that we have to carry out, and as well as the block is expected be sold to some mutual funds as well as insurance companies. Let's not forget the stock has already seen a run-up of as much as 40% just from its March lows. So obviously we're keeping an eye out on Shyam Metallics today, not doing anything exciting, down 0.3% in trade.
Alright, watch out for that one, and remember that is the cover on D3 that you've heard first on ET now. But Nirav, let's talk about Axis Bank, ICICI Bank, now Axis Bank. How are the charts looking for this one, similar that of ICICI Bank?
Oh, yes, in fact, this has already witnessed a breakout much earlier than ICICI. After the breakout, the support levels were retested around 825, and then, a very good reversal has come in place. The recent highs have been broken at 960 odd levels, retested again. This is the stock to buy if you want to buy anything in the banking space along with ICICI. Do go ahead and buy this stock. It will give tremendous returns in the near term and in the medium term as well. Near term target is around 1040, 960 is the stop loss. Medium term you can expect 1200, 1250 to come.
Alright, let's shift focus. Let's talk about ITC. Remember yesterday we had that exclusive interview with the ITC Chairman and Managing Director Sanjeev Puri talking about the way forward, and now you have Jefferies that cited the interview as well in his report. What they're saying is the high capex and a subpar return profile has been a concern for ITC's hotel business, but its renewed focus on managing some properties via contracts while owning a few is benefiting the business, is what Jefferies has noted in its report. They're also saying more than half of the ITC's room inventory is through management contracts, while the rest comes from owned hotels, as ITC has been increasingly focusing on an asset-right strategy, which is also evident in the limited pipeline of the under-construction projects as of now. What else is they are saying? The company has an inventory of 11,500 rooms across 120 hotels in 70 locations, and the business actually contributed than 5% of ITC's revenue and EBIT over the last decade, but now it is actually accounted more than 20% of its capex, and the business has seen high volatility in revenue growth and margins, but recent trends are much stronger as the industry is actually seeing an upturn right after COVID. So therefore, Jefferies is maintaining their buy stance on ITC, and they've in fact raised the target price by a mere 10 rupees per share. Now the target prices are above 530 from 520, and this is based on improving profitability of the hotels business. So yes, a thumbs up coming in from Jefferies, just like almost everybody right now.
Absolutely, surely thumbs up coming in from Jefferies on ITC, and you have managed to take over that 1 minute time which I would take talk about ITC.
Sure,
you managed to take it over.
I block it for myself.
Yeah. Let's move on and talk about the next stock, and that is Ramco Cements. Ashesha, what is the reason behind this being in focus today? What's the news for you?
It's coming in over here, and that is the reason the stock is trading in the green today. The company has commissioned line 3 at their RR Nagar plant. The company also said that they've commissioned 3,000 TPD capacity of clinkerization. So some capacity expansion plans which has now been commissioned. This is the first integrated cement line which has been commissioned in the last 15 years in the south of Tamil Nadu. So that's the positive news coming in over there. As you can see on your screens, it's jumped up in early morning trade. It has cooled off a little bit, but despite that, it is holding on to gains of 0.8%.
Alright, that is Ramco Cements for you, and why that one is in focus in today's trading session. But a renewed focus has been actually coming in the pharma space altogether. Take a look at any of the pharma names. They're actually seeing a good run up of late, and one of them is definitely Dr. Reddys as well. Nirav, and do you think this tide that is turned in favor of the company is here to stay? 20% uptick in the last 6 months, more to go?
If you sir, I've been speaking about the pharma space for the last couple of months. I see a good bottom formation in most of the stocks, and the likes of Dr. Reddy have broken out. So it's a very good stock to be in at this point of time. So you do buy high beta stocks. This is one of the few stocks which is low beta, and there are chances that this stock will go up towards that 5450 5500 odd levels. So look to buy the stock at current levels. 4950 is a good support area for this stock. That should be a stop loss. 5450 5500 is where this stock will come in.
Okay, let's move on and talk about Ipca Labs then, Harsh. And why have you picked out this one in today's trade? What is the reason for this being in focus today?
Well, another management meet, Vinny. So we had BNK Securities meet with Ipca Labs. What Ipca Labs has guided for is they've guided for a re-entry in the US market by the end of 2024. That hopefully, if the guidance is met, is a positive. You're also looking at Ipca Labs aiming for a sales growth of 10% and an EBITDA margin of 19 to 20% through FY24. They're expecting margins to recover to historical levels by FY25. The API business is expected to recover in the second quarter of this year as the Sartan's issues are largely behind them, and the management also sounded confident around Unichem's turnaround. Of course, a major positive for Ipca Labs this particular note, especially on the back of that the formulations unit which got observations just a couple of days back. So definitely some positivity coming up on Ipca Labs, 1% higher in trade.
Alright, moving on, let's talk about Mishra Dhatu or Midhani as we all know it. Nirav, another defense counter, has been a buzz, saw a rally in line with what rest of the defense pack was also doing. But right now, what do you see on the charts for Mishra Dhatu? Do you think that this will take a pause?
No, it's already taken a pause. From 300 odd levels, it has come down about 20-25 rupees, and it is likely to come down towards this 265 odd level, which is the breakout level. Always, whenever a breakout comes in, it is retested. Only then, the strength of that particular trend comes out. So it is likely to retest that level. Once it comes there, that is when you buy the stock. I believe it's a super breakout with super volumes. So don't miss out. Do go ahead and buy it at lower levels. Your stop loss should be around 254, and this stock can come up towards 325, 330 levels. Medium term around 400 levels can come.
Okay, keeping an eye out on those levels for Mishra Dhatu. Let's move on and talk about Zomato. This one is in focus today. Why? We are actually Swiggy's numbers that were highlighted by Process in their numbers. Now, what they said and what actually comes in as a highlight Zomato is that seems like Zomato can maintain its gross merchandise value versus a share versus Swiggy, and that is what is a positive that one would look at in terms of when Swiggy's numbers come out. Now, when you just let me take you through the numbers that Swiggy came out with, they disclosed a data point that Swiggy's current year 22 operating performance seemed like overall, when you look at it in terms of the gross merchandise values, that stood at around 55% share was of Zomato, while 45% share was that of Swiggy coming in there. Other highlights was that Swiggy's Instamart gross merchandise value increased by 459% YOY. Other than that, we saw that Swiggy's overall losses actually saw an increase in the calendar year 2022 versus calendar year 2021, and this was the main highlight that has come in from Process, and the higher losses was on account of investment in Instamart. Let's not forget, Zomato has also started with the gold, so that will furthermore help them in terms of gaining their market share as well, and that is why Zomato is something that we should keep an eye out on, because obviously it's more of a duopoly which is going on now in that space, and obviously that is a factor. So that is why we're seeing that Kotak Institutional is maintaining a buy on Zomato and keeping their rating and retaining their rating there.
Alright, that's Zomato for you, however subdued in today's trading session. But Nirav, after Dr. Reddy's, you've chosen to stick put or stay put with the pharma pack, looks like it, and Cipla it is. This one has not done anything in the last 6 months, no doubt. Over the last 1-2 months, it's been seeing a recovery just like the rest of the pharma package. But do you think a lot of room left for Cipla now to go ahead and do a catch-up trade?
Oh, definitely. See, Cipla, for that matter, had fallen from about 1150 odd to 850, and then smart recovery has taken place. I have seen a lot of short covering action in this particular stock, which is a good sign. It also has moved up above its 50 and 200-day moving average, just about above the 200 now. So very likely this stock can move up towards the previous highs, which were around 1150 odd. Look to buy the stock at current levels. 980 should be your stop loss for longs.
All right, that is Ipca for you. Let's talk about TCNS clothing, and this particular counter has been in focus. It was seeing an uptick of as much as about 2.2% earlier on. Now it has actually given up all of this gain, and actually it is trading flat. But let me tell you why this one is in focus, because you had CCI that has approved the acquisition of the company by Aditya Birla Fashions Retail, and because of that you had the stock that saw a good uptick and was set to snap a 3-day losing streak in today's trading session. That is only the gains hold. For now, as you can see, the stock has given up all of those morning gains. Right now, trading flat with a positive bias.
Okay, that is TCNS clothing, but let's move on to the next one. And Ashesha Sapphire Foods, I believe this one saw block deals happening yesterday. Do we have any more details on that, or is there any other news flow that is coming in for Sapphire Foods as well?
Yes, the stock is in focus for the second consecutive session. Yesterday we did talk about the block deal, and now we have the details of the buyers and sellers. WWD Ruby Limited sold about 30 lakh shares at the price of 1377 rupees per share. And as far as buyers are concerned, Goldman Sachs Singapore has bought about 3.4 lakh shares. We have Society Generale, which bought about 4.7 lakh shares. Nomura Trust, which bought about another 4.4 lakh shares. And other prominent buyers include the likes of Aditya Birla Sun Life Mutual Fund, Fidelity Fund, ICICI Prudential, Kotak, Morgan Stanley, etc. So on the back of this block deal that took place, this counter continues to be in focus today.
So that is Sapphire Foods for you, and that indeed is the last stock that we're discussing on this edition of Market Fatafat. Thank you so much, Nirav, as well as Ashesha, Harsh and Sumit for joining us and taking our viewers through all the stocks that are buzzing in trade. But next up, let's talk about leaders of tomorrow. That particular show is in conversation with T. Koshi, who is the CEO and Managing Director at ONDC, who stresses on the need for establishing an open network and amplifies how it challenges the dominance of leading food delivery services. In the second segment, we have an insightful discussion with Kunal Vasudeva, who is the co-founder and COO of Indian School of Hospitality, who is delving into the Indian education landscape while highlighting the demand for skill-based learning and the mechanisms that need to be adopted for the same. Listen in.
ONDC's competitive pricing, discounts, incentives, and increasing order volumes can disrupt the food delivery market and perhaps challenge the dominance of players like Amazon, Swiggy, and Zomato.
The open network is not just limited to few domains. Eventually, every domain will be present. So, but whenever you embark on such a large project, we know we have to take baby steps. And we decided to take baby steps in a really relatively complex part of e-commerce by starting with only grocery and food. And then, as I said, we are providing enabling protocol and the digital rails, and it is a various platforms which come and make their product visible.
Tell me, Kunal, to what extent does ISH prioritize practical skills over theoretical knowledge?
So culinary and hospitality, it's a skill. And if it is a skill, there has to be a balance between practice arts as well as framework of theory. It is an interplay, it is a confluence which is happening almost simultaneously. And when you look at the skill frameworks, I always say if it is undergraduate, it needs to be at level 7, level 8 skills, which essentially means I have a complete understanding of what is required of me, and I can solve complex problems when a situation arises.
And for this exclusive conversation, tune in to Leaders of Tomorrow tonight at 10:30 p.m. on ET Now. With that, we're absolutely out of time on this edition of Market Fatafat. It's going to be a goodbye from Sharav, myself, as well as the team who put this show together.